Welcome back everyone. Quickly, let's continue our discussion on JavaScript beginners to the advanced level, and right now we'll be discussing about JavaScript Let keyword. The Let keyword was introduced in ES6 2015. The rules and regulations you have to follow is that variables defined with let cannot be redeclared. Variable defined with let must be declared before use, and the variables defined with let have block scope. These are the syntax rules and regulations you have to follow. So let me show you how all this works. Redeclaration, declare before use, and block scope. Back to our document. I firstly want to show you this. As you can see right here, I want to generate HTML code, HTML, and again I want to define h1 tag here, and I want to give it ID of test. I want to create a script inside here, and I create let variable, let keyword along with variable, and I'm giving it, let me give it x1. So let me just give it x is equal to 3, x is equal to 3, and just output it like document dot get element by id of test dot inner HTML is equal to x. When I do like this, I save my document and reload. Can you see we are having 3 and it's working fine? But by mistakenly, let's say we imagine we use this let keyword again inside this our code. We now give the another variable this same x variable. It will never work like that. It will give us an error. It's equal to 2. Can you see? It's going to be an error. When I reload, it's an error. So you should know that this is a confusion, like you are confusing the engine, the algorithm. So you have to be careful when doing that. So that is the first thing you have to note. Let's remove this. And again, we are talking about let's get back to the declared before use. That is, before we talk about this declared before use, I'm going to talk about the block scope. The block scope is in before ES6 2015, JavaScript had only global scope and function scope. ES6 introduced two important new JavaScript keywords, let and const. These two keywords provide block scope in JavaScript. Before, we have global and function scope, but now we have block scope in JavaScript. Variables declared inside a block cannot be accessed outside the block. That is, when you are using let and you declare the variable, you cannot access it outside this block. That is, you cannot output it outside this block. That's what they are talking about. Variable declared with var keyword cannot have block. If you are using var keyword, you cannot use it. You cannot use the var. You cannot use the block scope if you are using var keyword. Note that. Variable declared inside a block can be accessed from outside the block, and there is a way we can do that. You cannot output, you cannot access or whatsoever. You have to understand all these things because it's very, very important when you understand it. So let's get started. This is our code right here. As you can see, nothing is outside here. So I want to create a block scope. How can we create a block scope? This opening and closing curly braces. You can see I've already output this x, but we haven't defined it. Let's declare it. I want to declare let keyword with this x variable along with value. Let's give it, I'll use strings this time around. I'll use wow, and I save my document now and see. Can you see we don't see our wow yet? The reason why we don't see our wow yet is because we are calling the document.getElement by ID right here. which is not good. We will have to delete this because we are writing our let inside a block. So everything we want to write, the function to output it must be inside here. So let's output it right here. Document dot get element by id of text dot inner dot in html, right, is equal to x. So when we save this now, we will be able to see our wow. Let's reload. Can you see? It's working perfectly. But let's now imagine by mistakenly you carry this. You carry this output right here, output function, you place it outside the function, outside the block. If it's outside the block, it will never work. Let's reload. Can you see? But if it's inside the block, it can work. Let's reload and see. Can you see? So you should note that. And definitely you should know that whenever you want to use let again, you cannot use let again. Let x is equal to, can use good. You understand? And we can output it again. This one will not give us error because this one right here is outside the block scope. This one is another block scope entirely, but this one is a separate code for us. So definitely we are going to be able to see this. After our computer read this one, it's going to jump to this place. That's how JavaScript code reads. Let's reload. Can you see? Now we are having good. So because we are able to have this let x, if you notice that very well, we are using let x here and we are still using it inside this block because the block stops, it doesn't consign this one right here. That's why we are able to use the let x again. But let's say you mistakenly carry this let x now, put it here again, maybe it's never going to work. It's going to be a problem like redeclaration, the first syntax rules and regulations. Can you see? So you should note that you cannot redeclare the variable on the let keyword variables. So that's how it works now. And again, one thing we can do again, I want to turn this to another thing entirely so you guys can be able to remember my stuff whenever you are writing your code, so that you won't be able to find yourself difficult to write JavaScript. If you notice very well, we are using this block right here, and when we output something, we output this one because our code reads from here to here. Then I say we remove this one now completely. If we reload, okay, so we are able to see the wow. But if we don't want to see this wow, we can put this at the bottom so that we can read this one instead of this wow. We will see good. Let's reload. Can you see? So the funniest part again is that we can turn our wow to a function because this is a block. So the block works along with function. So we can just create a function. Let's create a function at the top. I will create a function like this and we give it a variable. Let's give it do. I'll give it do. Let me give it d1. Yes, d1 function. Yes, d1 function right here. Instead of us changing our code, like deleting this one, we don't want to delete this one. We want to be able to call this wow. That's why I create this function d1 here. This function, this one d1, how can we call a function? I haven't talked about much about function, but I've been briefly talking about how to use function because that is the benefit of using code. If you don't know how to use function, I don't know what you are doing. So you should know how to use function. So I'm just purposely showing you this scope because I don't want to be hiding things. So as you can see, I just defined this little function right here at the top. So this little function, now to call it, I must use a button. Every time, always remember to call a function, you must use button. This button now, when I reload it, can you see it's display? But when I click it, nothing happens yet because we haven't kept a function inside it. It's like you want to start a motor. Your motor must have a key. A key is this one that we define here, and the key have to have the way they run it, like the wire inside it. The wire inside it that we want to keep inside our key is this function. Now carry it, I put it here, and I say on click. When we click it, it should run this function. You understand? It should run this function right here. When I reload my document, you should be able to see. Oh, sorry, if you notice I'm having error, so that's why I'm trying to know where the error may be. This is what we should copy, this keyword, this function name. You will not copy it along with this one, so that you won't have error. So this, only this. So when you copy it and place it inside this on click, when I save my document now, let's imagine we reload. Now we reload, right? So we are able to see this good, but this wow that we wrote at the first place right here, we haven't seen it because we have joined this with, we have joined our block scope with function. Then when we click the function, when we click this button, it's going to run this function right here, and it's going to jump to this place. So let's see. When I click it now, can you see? Now we are able to see wow. When I reload again, can you see? When I reload again, can you see? I don't want to be clicking this reload again. I want to do another thing. What can I do? I can create another button again, because I don't want to be I just want to create clear, just to clear my wow. You understand? I want to give it a button. So the function I'm giving it, the second function here. So the second function, I can write it right here. So I can just write this one. This second function should be, carry this one right here, place it at the top of this place. The second function is D2, right? Inside these two, so I want to output empty. So I just want to, this one, I don't need it. So I just want to keep this one there, so that I'll be able to clear the screen. That's all. So can I do like this? I just want to be able to clear this test screen, which is this test right here. I just want to be able to clear the thing there. So that's why I do this one right. So this second function is for me to make my work easier. When I reload now, as you can see, when I click the good, can you see? Can you see? I clear it. When I click it, you see, wow, I clear it. When let's say I want to call the good, I want to call the good again instead of using clear. So that's what we can do again. To call the good again, we can call a function inside a function. Is it possible? Let's try that. Let me write oh, sorry, you don't need to call a function inside a function. You can just carry this one now, carry all this. Sorry, you carried all this, you paste it inside here. You understand? So just because we want to be able to see this again, so let me reload my document now. Wow, good. Wow, good. Wow, good. So the clear is not working for clear again. We are turning it to good. So you can say bad and good. You understand? You can call this bad and we can call it good. So when I reload now, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good. Something bad can be good later. You understand? So you have to understand all this together, so you can, that's how we work with function. Function works with this block. That's why we are able to use the function easily. So I want you guys to focus and understand this very well. So what have we learned so far? What we have learned so far is that HTML file. What we have learned so far is that this is h1 tag here, and this one is having ID of demo, and this one is script right here. Inside here we can create block scope, and the block scope can be let x is equal to 7, you understand, and we output it like document dot get element by ID demo, you understand, and we do dot inner HTML is equal to 0, is equal to x. So as you can see, if it's like this, it's going to show our x variable when I reload. Okay, you see now we are able to see the 7. But if by mistakenly this output signal we call it outside the block, it will never work. Let's reload. Can you see? So that's what I want you to note. You should note it because it's very, very important, and that is the reason why you have to practice, because practice makes perfect. This and this again can work along with function. You don't need to redefine anything again than just to write function. If you want to call it by force, write function and give it a name. Let me give it do it. I just write do, capital letter IT, do it, you understand. I give it like this. I've turned it to a function already. So to call this function now, I can just do whatever I want to do, you understand. And to display this function again, if you don't put this inside here, it will never work. Let me show you an evidence again. Let's say button, it's got to do, you understand. I just write that. You can write anything you want. On click, when we click it, we want it to do it, capital letter IT. Write it the way it is right here. If you want to have problem, you can just copy it like this direct and put it here. And don't forget, never carry this function again. Never put it here. Only this function name you should carry. So only from here to here. So that's all. When I call it now, when I call the button, let's click it. Can you see? We are unable to see it, and that works the same way. Or else you carry this function right here. You carry the function of output function. You carry the statement and place the statement inside the block. That's only the time your do is going to work. Can you see? That's only the time your do is going to work. Can you see? But if you don't call it, and the funniest part is that if you don't call it now, you will not see anything. Can you see? Unless we call it. When I click it now, can you see? We are able to see the 7 because we have turned it to function. And again, let's say we have all this, we carry this, all of it together, place it at this place. Just change this one to good. I wrap it because this is a string. You will be able to see that good first, but when I click this function, can you see we are able to see 7 inside, because that function is from this block. And what is a block? A block is all this, as you can see, up and down, curly braces, everything inside here is a block. So everything inside the block must have whatever you want to write inside it completely. If not, it will never work. Can you see how we do it? So everything works fine. Can you see when I reload? Can you see? It doesn't matter if you put the function at the top, or even let's imagine we carry the function now, we place it at the bottom. You see an error. So don't do that. So as you can see, we have the function at the top of the block. So definitely you are saying that this function is mainly for this block. You understand? That's how we do it, and everything is working fine. When I click it, we see the 7. We can change the 7 to nice. When I write nice, I put it inside double quote because it's a text. When I reload, we have good. When I click it, can you see we have nice? So you guys should be able to perform all these little experiment by yourself. So this is what I have for you guys, and again, let's continue our discussion. Redeclaration. I've discussed about this. You cannot redeclare. Redeclaring a variable using var keyword can impose problem. Redeclaring a variable inside a block will also redeclare the variable outside the block. I've discussed about all of this previously. Let's imagine this one is let, right? This one is not we don't use let keyword, we use var. You understand? When we save our document now, let's remove this one now and call it outside here. You understand? We want to call this x. Let's see what will happen when I reload. When I go, can you see nothing display? The same thing that happen when we are using the let. The same thing that happen is the thing that happens right here also. So on here, you carry this function right here, place it inside here, because it's a block of code, as you can see. So when I reload, when I click it now, can you see? We are able to see it. Let me remove this function so that you won't get confused. As you can see right here now, because we are using var, doesn't mean that the block will not do its own thing. When I put the output function outside, it will never display this nice, because we are calling the x, right? But it will never display it. When I reload now, oh sorry. Wow, this display, it display yes, this it's display. But if you wrap it with function on var level, var, if you are using function, when you are using this with function, if it is var, it will never work. It will never display. That's what is going on. When I reload now, can you see? We are able to see it. Nice. But let's imagine it is not a function. Understand? We remove the function. Sorry. If it's a function, we carry this one out, we place it outside. Sorry, the same thing. Of course, when I press it, can you see? We don't see it. But let's imagine this is not a function. Let's imagine it's not a function. It will work because it's not a function. Can you see? We're able to see the nice. So, but if it's a function, it will never work. It will do like the way let also working. So when we reach some certain level, I'm going to be displaying all this. Let me delete the button so you can see. When I remove all this, it will work perfectly. Can you see? It is working. The only time var also works in such manner is when you give it a function. When you give it a function, you understand? When you give it a function, definitely you must carry this output here and place it inside. If not, it will never work. Let me create my button again. Click. Let me just write, click, and do it. Wrap it and save. It will work now. Can you see? When I click it, because it's a function. But if we carry this now outside here, sorry, it will never work. When I click, can you see? It will never work, because function is trying to read everything inside this block. So definitely you should note that function works along with block of code. You understand? Whenever you are writing function, everything concerning function is concerned block. But if you are writing function, you think function can be called, can be output by specifying its value outside it. It will never work. So when we get to function level also, you have to understand that better. So I just show you var, the way var works along with the block scope again. So keep that in your mind. So but if we don't have a function and we just want to do it, understand, it's going to work fine. Our code our x is going to call this x right here when I reload. Can you see? Nice. But if it is let, it will never allow that. When I reload, can you see? If it is var, it will allow. Can you see? So you should note that let works different ways and var also works different ways. So we are talking about var, so I have to bring other stuffs in so you guys can be able to understand what I'm talking about. So let don't wait until you have a function before it secures the variable for you. Can you see? So that's what is going on right there. So browser supports. The let keyword is not fully supported in the Internet Browser 11 or earlier. The following table defines the first browser version with full support for the let keyword: Chrome 49, EDG 12, Firefox, and all that. All this supports it. But redeclaration, as earlier as I told you previously, redeclaring a JavaScript variable with var is allowed anywhere in a program. As you can see, anywhere in a program. But if you are using it inside a function, let's say for instance now var x, as you can see, you understand? And let's say var x is equal to 3. Var x is equal to 3. Let's see. Definitely you should know that x is going to become 3. It's never going to come to this place at all because we are using var. Can you see? But let's say imagine this is let. The same thing go to occur also. Can you see? But let's imagine we use var outside here. But don't let me talk about this var right here because we are not in var topic. We are in let topic. So let's continue with our let gently. So again, what we have to know again is that declaring a variable let in another is not allowed. Can you see? It's allowed right here. It's allowed right here. It's allowed. So let hoisting. I told you I haven't talked about let hoisting previously. Variables defined with var are hoisted to the top and can be initialized at any time, meaning you can use the variable before it is declared. That is, this is okay if you are using it with var. If you want to learn more about it, we are going to talk about the JavaScript hoisting data. Variables defined with let are hoisted to the top of block but not initialized, meaning using a let variable before it is declared will result in an error. That is, when you do like this, you say car name is equal to Zab and you now later declare it like this, it causes an error. Let me give you an example for that. That is what they call hoisting. Let me do this inside here. Let's say we declare it like this. Now say let x. It's going to be a problem. But when you do like this, let x. Sorry. When you do like this, x is equal to let output it. Let output it. Can you see? It's going to be a problem. The reason why it's going to be a problem is that you firstly initialize x right here before you declare the x. Let me show you very well. We have had that let works with block, you understand? So let's use block to create x, to create let keyword, because we want to use let keyword. Now I want to assign value to x is equal to 50. When I output it, and don't let us do it anyhow, let's come inside here, do our function here so that you don't confused. Let's reload our document. This is 50, right? But the problem right here is that if you imagine this, let's say you write let x again right here, definitely this is going to be a problem. Can you see? But if it is var, you use in that way, This is the declaration and this is initialization. When I reload now, var is going to display 50. Can you see? So they work different ways. But if it is let, you declare later after you have already initialized, it will not show the answer. So on else, you carry your declarations, you take it to the top. We declare let x, then we can assign value to it like this. Okay, everything works fine. But if you by mistakenly again write let x right here, definitely you're gonna have a problem. Can you see? So we should note that. So this is declaration, this is initialization, this is hoisting. We are hoisting the let keyword at the top, the variable at the bottom, the variable initialization at the bottom. The variable declaration is at the top, the initialization is at the bottom. But if it is var keyword, you can do anyhow you want it. Equal to 50. And even if you carry the declaration from the top, you take it to the bottom using the var keyword. Can you see? You are still seeing your answer. But if it's less keyword, you carry the declaration to the bottom, you can never see it. Can you see? Else you carry your declaration to the top. When I save my document now, can you see? So that's how everything works together. You have to take time when you are doing this, learn everything perfectly so that you won't get confused whenever you are writing your code. As you can see, you won't see the 50 again. As you can see, and again, don't forget when you output this even outside problem again, another problem can occur. So every time you want to use let, always declare your variable first, then initialize your variable later. So that's how everything works together. As you can see, whenever you want to use let, always use this opening and closing curly braces, because let works along with block scope. So whenever you want to use it, try let it be part of you, let it be part of the thing you'll be doing. Every time you want to use let keyword, use this block so that everything can work nice. You can be able to remember what you have learned so far. So that's what I want to tell you. I think we have gone through everything right here, and that is always hoisting is by putting the declaration at the top or putting it at the bottom. That is hoisting, like by switching the declaration and the initialization. So that is it. As you can see, we have covered everything so far. We have covered the redeclared and declare. We have covered the block scope, that is variables defined with let have block scope. Either you use this bracket here or you don't, they have block scope. So use it. I will advise you that you should always use it so that your code can look normal every time you are using it. The same thing, of course, but it will make, because by using this one now, it will make your code work faster and look more neat. I would say you should use it, because if you want to use function later, you can just do like this. You understand? Function, you can just write function and give it function name. You understand? That's all you need. And to just call it, you just carry this, put it inside the button, click and click. When you say on click, just paste it inside there. Then you can say, I can change this one to anwar akorede ayofe. So when I do like that, I close it inside double quote. I save my document. When I reload, I'm going to see the button, and when I click it, I'm going to see anwar akorede ayofe. That's all. And we can create more function if you want. I can clear this anwar akorede ayofe right here. I can just do this, give it empty screen. When you do like this again, can you see? Can you see? I clear it. When I reload, can you see? I clear it. And the funniest part is that you can just do .1 and call the .1 right here. .1. So instead of wasting your time, show it, clear it, show it, clear it. You understand? And just give it a name that you want. Give it show. and give it clear. So you can see now we are having show it clear, show clear, show clear, show clear. You understand? So and it's working very fine. When we close our document right here, as you can see, we have did a lot. You can just come here again, double click it, show clear, show clear. Everything is working fine. So I want you guys to practice, because practice is making perfect. You understand? So anwar akorede ayofe is my name once again. I wish to see you guys next time. To the next tutorial, peace and love. Have a great day. Thank you so much, and to the next. Bye.